Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spilling Tea, sponsored by Serious Business. Um, and today, one of the intentions with Spilling Tea, just by the title Spilling Tea, is to go deeper and a little wider and talk about things with our guest that maybe we're not talking about. But we will also be talking about things that are that everybody's talking about. And so today, this guest, Heath Smith, he's a co-owner of Rui's Salon in Austin, Texas. And my personal experience of Heath is that he is one of the most well-rounded leaders that I know. He has empathy. He's smart as he can be. He knows business. He listens. Um, anyway. We never, we've had Heath over the years. We keep bringing Heath into most everything we do, and there's a reason why, because he's just such a gift. So with that, I would like to bring Heath up. Hi, Heath.
Deborah, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for you are always so willing and generous to share your thinking and your strategies and all that you know. So thank you so much. Um,
Oh, you're welcome.
and I know, we're going to talk about what we've all, you know, keep talking about. It's, how do we engage our team? Kind of, we're not post pandemic, but and I don't know how much we want to focus on what's happened during the pandemic. I think what we want to focus on in this conversation is the transition, like moving through more as the pandemic is
Mhm.
transitioning. Although I don't know, I mean, is it going to get better? Yeah, although
I,
2021 hasn't proven itself to be better.
I'll tell you from my perspective, COVID didn't do anything except shine a light on what was already there in my business. So, intuitively, I already knew there were problems and maybe disconnects with certain team members and with guests and places we had weaknesses. And all that COVID did was just amplify that, just showed it to us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they're your problems, my problems. So we have to work through them at our own pace. So,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So yes, it's going to get better in 2021.
So, so this pandemic experience that you've had, what surprised you? What did you learn, or you became really aware of that surprised you?
Mm. Well, um, if I just think about our business model and what we based it on, we targeted from the very onset back in 1997, 98, this professional clientele, and it has aged with us, and we've been very, very successful with it. Um, and now some of our best customers are at the height of their career, their professional careers, and they were also the most vulnerable. So this pandemic really wiped out a huge amount of our clients, made them really wary to come into a public space. And we always thought this industry would be recession proof, and I suppose it still is, but this is completely different. This is a relationship industry that the government and the health experts are saying don't go around people, don't talk to people, stay away, 6 foot, social distancing, and that has created a new set of barriers for us to operate in that we've never had to deal with. So I think that was the biggest surprise is um, how much of our clientele fell into a category that had to be super cautious. And anyone that kind of plays in their marketplace at that luxury price point
Hmm.
probably would agree. The same challenges.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. I haven't really heard that articulated like that, but you're absolutely right. So what are you doing about it?
We're being patient. um, we created this thing called oh gosh, it's just the many ways to enjoy Ruiz, and so we try to just be on our toes and think about all of the ways that we could continue to offer what we do to our guests. Trader Joe's early on, we're next to a Trader Joe's grocery store, and they started offering what they called senior hour from 8 to 9 a.m. So that was a program that really kind of spoke to me, and so I thought, how could we still offer a safe environment? Maybe it's only one or two people could be in the space at a time. So that was one way we pivoted and kind of create a program where uh, more vulnerable clients could come into the salon. Another one was embracing on location work. So we created an entire program where we would go out into the community and take care of clients at their homes or their offices. Um, Gosh, of course, home hair color kits is one. We
Hmm.
created Express Color where clients could come in, get color applied, and then go ahead and leave and wash it out at their own home. So I feel like just having this umbrella of different options. If you couldn't come into our space, how could we still engage you? So that's what it really forced us to do, is think about what we do differently. Salons are notoriously tied to space. Um, and unlike a lot of industries where a lot of my friends and family work remotely and they haven't felt any of this. None of it.
Yeah.
They get paid the same amount. Their salaries
That's
are
not,
steady.
yeah, that doesn't work for us.
No, it doesn't work for us. So we have traditionally been tied to a place, to a physical space. So I think playing around in all of the ways that we could interpret that and engage customers was a success story for us. So that's
So do
how
you
we.
do you think that I guess specifically the home hair color kits and the sending hairdressers out to people's homes, do you see those as enduring, you know, you're going to continue to offer that as as we're allowed to be more physically, present with each other again?
Yeah, I don't think you can take it away. I
Yeah.
think that there is a place now for customers that had that need, but never knew that they had the need. And it's made their life a little bit more easy for us to offer those things. So I don't think that those will ever go away. Um, and nor do I mind if we can charge for a home hair color kit a similar price to what we would charge for a client coming into the salon. And all I have to do is mix up a predetermined formula and send it home in a really great bag with some instructions. I mean, that's pretty good. That's that's a pretty good return on investment there. So
So I'm curious. Then how do you? So then obvious. Maybe it's obvious. Maybe it's not obvious. So how do you pay? What does that look like when you're sending a hairdresser out to someone's home? Is the because you're a commission you're you're a
mhm,
commission salon. So then does
yeah.
that change when you're sending somebody out?
In a way, yeah, because it does need to be um, worth their time, right?
Yeah.
So what we've always done is we've always had some sort of on location business, mostly for bridal and event, and
Hmm.
we build that at a rate of two times what it would normally be in the salon environment. For COVID and creating the on location program, we I was talking to my business partner and husband Alan and our other partner Tina Ruiz, and we really didn't want to charge at that rate because we thought that that would be a little bit predatory. This was a need that we were trying
Hmm.
to offer to alleviate.
Right.
Um, uh, Gosh, I mean, we really wanted to not take advantage of them, so we billed at a rate of one and a half times the
Okay.
salon fees. And to make it worth it for the team, we considered everything above what we would normally charge in the salon as essentially a bonus. And when we were working payroll, everything above what we would normally pay in the salon dropped to the bottom line to the employee, directly to the employee. And then the normal salon rate would flow through commission like normal. So depending on the service, if it was a haircut, that was really great money for the hairdresser to get paid that way. For hair color, the prices started at 1.5 times, would get really, really high. For services like keratins or smoothing
Yeah.
services, some of these employees, before they even stepped out of their door, were making $100, $200 before they even did the service, just from the premium pay that dropped as a bonus. So we tried to make it a win-win, a win for the guests so that they could have someone come to them, but it still was a luxury. So they had to pay a little bit more to have that luxury service of having someone come all the way to their home. So that's how we did it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's got to be structured that way, Deborah, because otherwise the employee isn't protected. You think about all of the I could get on the my computer right now and I could have a haircut scheduled probably at 4 o'clock today with God knows who, but they'd come right to my office and do it. Um, Not tied to a salon, not tied to anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I could order a hairdresser just like I could order a pizza right now. And I feel like we have an obligation to our team to make sure they're taken care of. So if they're out hustling and doing gig work outside of their salon schedule, they won't be so protected by price, and customers will feel more able to ask more and more of them versus the stylist working in the salon environment. We kind of control a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
pieces, and we've got the stylist back. So what we know is that stylists working outside of the salon, they rarely charge
What
what
they
they would
should.
normally charge
Right.
in a salon.
Right.
So with this program, we not only did we ensure that they were charging at the rate they would normally charge in the salon, but they actually received a bonus every time they went out. So um, that's how I looked at it.
That is a significant um, pivot on your part.
Hmm.
And because I've heard a couple salon owners talking about that's what they were doing, especially like in the cities.
Yeah.
And then there was also I've also heard a lot about, and I'm wondering how you're handling, your training program.
My gosh. Yeah.
Because and I piggyback this last part of the conversation with this because I've heard people say, well, I no longer have like an apprentice program or an assistant program. So
Hmm.
now, because I can't have that many people in the building, right?
Hmm.
So now my hairdressers are doing it all, meaning they're doing the shampooing, they're doing the blowout, and they're doing it all. And we've been able to increase the price and they're comfortable with that. The hairdresser is. And so
Right.
and the guest has been, because now people want to feel safe, but they also want, I don't know, the days of having a half a dozen people touch you in a
Are,
salon
are,
are
mhm.
kind of over for now, right? So,
Yeah. I think that they're worrying. For clients. I do think that there's, looking forward, 2021, 2022, I feel like volume in a service business is still one of the most important pieces of the formula for our team members to earn the kind of living that we've always been able to provide. So I think if that's happening, it will be short-lived. A lot of our team members, just from the cleaning and sanitation protocols, we extended uh, timing standards to allow 15, sometimes 30 minutes more per service, and that they were loving it up front, and they were finishing early and got extra breaks in between every client. That's kind of waning now. We are having more and more. I think we're probably at about 2/3 of our team have asked to go back to original timing standards
okay.
because they realize the impact of
Yes.
how many guests they can see in a day is directly related to
How
how
much
much
money
time they
they can
spend.
make. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
yeah. Well, so
And I think it's the same thing.
so there's all kinds of transitions that are going on.
Yeah.
you know.
With training programs, I'll tell you, we're seeing so many applicants right now that are still coming out of the woodwork from schools, and we love it. And they know not in this environment, Deborah, they need more training than ever. There's so many things that they haven't been trained to consider working in the public, and there's a lot of fear around it. So I think training programs still have their places for sure. But I don't know. This is probably controversial to say, but if I had to choose between, a guest care person at my desk and an assistant or an intern, I'd rather have the assistant in the space because they could just be so much more versatile in helping take care of guests that way.
Hmm. Yeah. So have well that's it just brings up for me this whole how did you lose many hairdressers in this last year that weren't
Um,
comfortable or they had the family, child issues or
yeah. So let me give you. We roll up every year. So not only do we crunch numbers for the prior year, and like most businesses, we're about a third down in revenues. Um, and when we looked at total turnover, this was our 2020 was our worst year ever in employee turnover. We lost 34 employees, and we normally run at around 80 employees. So, um, of that, two-thirds of them were guest care, so frontline
mm,
employees, or brand new to the industry hairdressers in training. And really, what the impact was from that is Austin is a city where people travel to and hang out for a while. They think it's a great place to move. Well, the minute COVID happened, a lot of these families were on recall. They're calling their families, their kids back home. So we lost a lot of team members initially just because families felt it would be better to have their son or daughter or grandchild closer to home. So
mhm.
a lot of that happened. And I'll tell you the other side of this story. We had our team meeting a few weeks ago, launching 2021. And while we were down, I think it's 28%, 2020 was down 28% compared to 2019. I put a slide on the right after that slide that told the team this: our service providers, even though the business was down 28%, their salaries were down 4%. So make that make sense, right? So
Mhm.
um, even though the business had lost a third of its revenue, our team was still taken care of. So I don't look at sales so much or even turnover of employees so much as profitability and is really the key. And then my team's salaries. Can we keep them employed at the wages that they're used to? Because that affects their quality of life. So those were and if you ask about pivots, I was probably a year ago only focused on top line.
Hmm.
So I just felt like profit would take care of itself.
Right.
And COVID really made us look at our business from a completely different perspective. And can we continue to be profitable? And can our team members continue to make the same kind of money that they're used to? Those became my new metrics to pursue.
Yeah, that's it's true. I mean, a lot of people I've talked to have been pleasantly surprised at their profitability, you know, because we've had to reduce so
Mm-hmm.
much infrastructure and 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 we've been able to function.
Yeah.
And so, hmm,
Yeah. I think we're in a conversation right now of, what to add back and when to add back to that experience. I think that that's the place a lot of salon owners are. So we know we've pared back that salon experience almost to the thinnest we can get it. So it's just the most essential stuff is happening in the salon environments right now. And the luxury aspect of it. How long are these clients going to go on that ride for us with us? So I feel like that's the 2020 2021 conversations is when we add things back, how we add them back. strategically so that we're not scaring our customers away when somebody's walking in having a drink of coffee in your environment. Um, so I think that's going to be the next kind of frontier we have to tackle. We've got vaccines that have happened, and what a lot of salons are saying is since the beginning of February, things have gotten much better. There's been more traction with guests, and our stylists are getting busier. So I would say that that's due to a lot of confidence that's coming from the vaccine rollouts. And so the next step would be, okay, how do we get our team comfortable again, operating at a volume that really serves them, and then the customers comfortable sitting in an environment where, yeah, there may be open beverages, and yes, there may be pillows sitting in our waiting area, and yes, you may be using a robe that's fabric, but gosh, doesn't it feel good, and doesn't it look good, and doesn't it taste good? Because these are the things that they've been missing.
Yeah. They, um, hmm. I know. It's like there's just so much to, and again, you just think everything through so thoroughly that it's. I hope people are. We have a lot of people that are listening to you and taking your lead because it's so. You're really giving people direction that they need because this is such a different time. You know, I I wonder too, and maybe not so much for you, but there's always this debate, this back and forth about, commission and rental, and
Mm,
having, when turned over staff, how many
mhm.
of them decided to go to a rental situation?
Yeah. For us, we never really had that problem. In uh, the recent year, starting with the COVID shutdown, we had one stylist, we had a colorist of 14 years, and she was on that kind of place. She had originally set a date of November of 2019, and she was actually going to work with a salon that a stylist started that worked with us 5 years ago. And they're
Hmm.
friends, and we knew that they were going to eventually work together. She postponed it from November into March, and then COVID kind of hit, and the shutdown happened, and she didn't come back. And I think that um, with COVID kind of ravaging the service industry, it gave a huge opportunity for these suites and gallery landlords to market heavily to salon stylists. So I think that that was a small amount of time when think about when we were closed, how many weeks that actually was. But honestly, it was enough time for them to be marketed to really, really heavily. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yes,
And
yes, it does.
so it was really surprising in how many stylists actually listened to that marketing, and they were leading it with you can be in your own space, it's just you and one other person, so they were leading it from this safety conversation.
Hmm.
Um, so of the 34 team members we turned over from one year to the next through this COVID timeframe, 11 of them were hairdressers, and about maybe a third of them were established, and we had three go to the rental or suite or gallery situation. Now, I want to tell you, I know that there is that debate. I think it's perfectly fine for some people. I just don't think um, I don't think that every employee is an entrepreneur, which is what it takes to be successful in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
So what we see more often is that the employee leaves a team environment, and then the structure of someone helping them be successful, and they just sort of start wandering adrift, and they don't have anyone challenging them. They kind of set their own schedules, set their own dress code, and a lot of the principles that had helped them be successful went out the window. Um, so, do I think lease is terrible? Booth rental is chair rental is terrible? No, I don't think that. I just think it's not great for the vast majority of the employee base that's in our industry. It's
Yeah.
fine for some, but if I really thought that that was a great business model, I would be doing that. That's the
Right.
way I would be running
Yeah.
a company.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there is so much fear around the whole, rental situation. But your perspective is very grounded and centered. And I agree. I think that we we as an industry don't, and the people that are leaving to go to a rental situation, they leave without enough information about what they're actually going to be getting into. And you're right.
Yeah,
It is some people will be fine, but the majority will just end up at a kind of a flat line situation.
yeah, it's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen some really great, and not just in the beauty industry, but I see a lot of really talented people go freelance and they fizzle over time. They fizzle. Um, I just feel like people will perform best and pull the best out of themselves working on a team. That's what I see over and over again. That team allows individuals to shine.
Yeah.
Individual, it takes a special person to shine all by themselves.
Yeah. Well, before we run out of time, there's a couple topics I think we should approach, and that is what it's what what it's like to navigate in this omni-channel world that we're all operating in now. And then I'd like for you to, add your observation and experience around location, because that's been kind of a topic too.
Yeah, I think you know omnichannel is really a disruptor. It's a huge disruptor, and you see um, the move to online sales, online purchasing. Um, it's affecting everyone. If you just pull up to a shopping mall on a normal day, you see more bags going into the mall than coming out for returns. And brick and mortar stores in the retail arena are turning more into a customer servicing of purchases and returns and exchanges. You see that more often than actual purchasing decisions happening in the stores. But I think for the beauty industry, we've got to just be very mindful of that, um, and think about all of the things that we can do, because retail is still a huge revenue generator for the salon business. So we want to retain as much of that as we can, um, but not fighting online. You have to find a way to for online and brick and mortar purchasing in the store to live together. And a lot of the manufacturers out there are figuring out a way to support the salons as an end retailer, and then also support them online. So that's, I think, that marriage is what we've got to be conscious of. But oh my gosh, yeah, I think from well, you tell me, Deborah, from a from a online
Distributors,
retailer.
yeah.
Yeah. Where are you guys
I mean,
playing? Because
I think that one of the things that I've always been frustrated, it's been like I've been around for 40 years, and one of the things that has always been a challenge is for the hairdresser to take on the role and the responsibility of recommending products to a salon, to the client in the chair.
yeah,
So I think that
mhm,
going really capitalizing on that relationship, because salons are destinations. They only became important around location when with retail, right? having a retail and taking advantage of all of the people in those locations that were shopping, and whether, with all the big boxes and all of the, but
Right.
that has all changed. It's,
Yeah.
so
Well, I'll tell you the concept of the hairdresser making those I think businesses provide the structure for all of that to happen. And retail sales are a direct representation of how good the systems are in the business. I don't know that we ever have been successful at getting our hairdressers across the board um, recommending and selling product. They really want to focus on the service. I think that formula that you just laid out excludes the client's choice as well, because we just went through 15 years of clients shopping like crazy and being loyal to a lot of brands.
mhm.
So um, clients' choices are their ability to choose still do impact our retail sales inside of our business. And if they don't choose to carry the brand that we're carrying, then they're going to purchase somewhere else, and that's okay. Your point about you said something a second ago that really was kind of key, um, that I'm paying attention to right now is when we entered the market as a salon, it was kind of the up ramp of, or the ramping up of the day spa. So it used to be just salon, and then when we were entering the market, if you didn't have a day spa attached to your salon, you weren't really a luxury business. And that sort of shattered in the mid 2000s, and salons and spas kind of just broke apart, and you started to see all of these specialty businesses develop. So waxing studios and massage businesses, and businesses that just do facials, and don't forget Medi Spa.
Yeah.
And now I think we're an average day of self grooming, you're going to 5 or 6 or 7 places for the average beauty consumer today. I think we're moving back towards a place where people can get more of those things under one roof. Just if I look in my crystal ball, I think that seems to make more sense based on how customers are buying services today, and all of the concerns that they have to think about. So I don't know what you think, but I think the
Hmm.
trend is shifting back. They always say, even with fashion, that every 30 to
it,
40 years it
it,
repeats itself,
you
right?
kind of, yeah, go back
And
to,
I think we're going to see a swing back to loyalty and trust to a business that can really care for the customer, and they're going to purchase more from you, more of what you offer. The specialty still is important, but I think that if they can find it all under one roof, they're definitely would rather do that than go into a lot of different doors, being exposed to a lot of different people. So we'll see. We'll
yeah,
see if that's true.
that's interesting. I have to think about, I always gauge, I've always kind of gauged my own personal experience as a client and what I'm, and I may not be your typical client, but in a lot of ways I am. So I'll have to think about that one, so does that mean you're going to have a day spa again?
You know what? In our heyday, we were doing the same numbers,
I
on a
remember.
technician value. Our estheticians and waxing alone they're doing very similar numbers to hair color. So I think for the spa world, my God, waxing is a powerhouse. So we don't
Oh,
currently offer it. We've
I don't
never been
consider,
able.
but respectfully, I don't consider that a spa experience. I've always thought that was a little odd. Waxing a spa experience? I don't know about that. But I do. I think it has that in the salon environment. Absolutely. I do
Yeah, I
think
think
that,
it's the
yeah.
easy partnership, don't you think? So, um,
Yeah.
so anyway, I think that there's going to be some. we went through a kind of tangling up, and then we went through an untangling
Thankfully.
of these
Yeah.
relationships. We may see a little bit of renewed partnerships with those domains. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay,
Um,
and I know
you,
we're over time actually, because I don't know that
okay,
we can keep people's attention for more than about 40 minutes. However,
thank,
I've got to go over just a little bit because I think that I want to hear from you about when we talk about location and
yeah.
everybody's trying to navigate, leases,
Mhm,
especially
yeah.
the people that have these leases, as many of us do, in
Hmm.
areas where the lease, the it's high, and
Yeah.
we're kind of committed, whether we like
Well,
it or whether it works or not.
there's a really good podcast that I follow called Pivot, and it's Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher. I don't know if you have you listened to them ever
No, but
before?
no, I
Uh,
haven't.
okay, and Kara Swisher, she also has a second one called Sway, and Alan turned me on to them, and I just love them because it's kind of like you're spilling tea, but they talk about business and technology and branding and some politics, and they really kind of get a little colorful. But but one of the parts was a movement away from commercial, and this concept of anything that people can do at home. Right now they're working out at home. They're doing their home hair color kits. They're having hairdressers come to them. So they're basically saying the prediction is anything that has to do with moving away from a commercial office building or a shopping mall or even a hospital or doctor's office, if you can do that from your home, that's the place where technology is really shining right now. So I think that we're going to see a big bubble burst with commercial real estate. So I'm hoping we're in a lot of businesses are like me. We're in these really high profile, expensive leases. Um, and we just need to maximize any flexibility we have to make decisions that might get us out of those or soften the blow of them, like renegotiating the lease rates. And I think it's going to literally take, Deborah, the commercial market to kind of fall away before we're going to have any leverage. But I mean, in Austin, it's crazy. Residential home prices in January rose 20%. Sorry, I mean to kick my computer, but they rose 20% in January. So this market is just almost impossible to do business in right now. Um, but to your point, we don't need to be. Hair salons are in a destination of their own. We don't necessarily need to be in these shopping malls or these high rent districts.
Right.
Customers will come to us if we're in a reasonable, uh,
Yeah,
easy to get to,
yeah.
easy to get
Especially
to.
with the omni-channel,
Mm-hmm.
world that we're in. It's kind of like goes hand in hand. So,
Yeah.
well, listen, I again thank you so much for your generosity with your thinking, and Heath. You are just one of the smartest and kindest. I've never. I just. I love you, and I think that, and our industry loves you. And for those people that don't know Heath very well, get to know him, because just like this last 45 minutes, any conversation with you adds value. So
Thank
thank you for your
you.
time and your
And
mind.
thank you. I love you too, Deborah. Thank you for your
Okay. All
friendship
right.
and always for being so cool and supportive.
Thank you.